My wife sued for child support, so my salary was garnished under the assumption that I was not responsible enough to make payments on my own. After the automatic deduction, I barely had enough to survive. I did not have enough for my insulin co-pays, food, rent, travel money, and so on. So I made whatever choices I had to try to keep going. Sometimes I went without my medication. At one point, I was so broke I couldn't afford to attend the domestic violence course, so I missed one and got kicked out. At my next court appearance, the judge threatened me with jail time if I did not resume, so I stopped taking my medication and started eating one small meal per day to try to keep my blood sugars in a safe range. I sued for visitation rights with my kids and won a couple of hours every other Saturday. Between the time the initial incident took place and the first time after that I saw my baby, he had taken his first steps, had his first birthday and was speaking his first words. I missed all of it. Most weeks when I arrived to pick up my kids, my wife would be out or she would pretend not to be home. So I didn't get to actually spend much time with my kids, despite the court order. I went to the police station to complain, but they told me to bring it up at our next court date and let it go at that. Once, when I arrived to get the boys, she stood in the doorway screaming profanities at me in front of the neighbors and my children. Again, she was refusing to let me take them out as planned. Then she kicked me, so I called the police. Several cars arrived and despite the fact that there were witnesses, I was told to walk it off and try again the following week. Well, that didn't really work for me the year before, but I did as I was told and left the scene. I'm not a poor me kind of guy. I fought this whole charade as hard as I could. I talked to lawyers, joined a men's advocacy support group, and told everyone I could about the injustices that were taking place. One lawyer literally said, "I wish you could afford to hire me. I'd love to win this case in court." Eventually, I had my day in court. My lawyer said, "Plead guilty and take the punishment. You cannot win this, and if you plead not guilty and lose, the consequences will be far worse." I wrestled hard with the choice, but I eventually took his advice. I pleaded guilty to menacing in the 3rd degree. I was mandated to take the domestic violence class for 1 more year. Nothing changed except that I had to make a couple more court appearances to follow up with my attendance at the class. This is what I've learned from this whole experience. If a man attacks his female significant other, he has committed an act of domestic violence. As a result, he will go to jail and lose everything. If a woman attacks her male significant other, she is justified because she is defending herself against a person of privilege. As a result, the man will go to jail and lose everything. It sucks to be a man.